bienvenidos a un nuevo vídeo del canal. Estamos aquí de vuelta con Genshin Impact y ha llegado la hora de empezar algunas de las cositas nuevas de esta gran actualización. Así que lo primero de todo, vamos un momentito a misiones y como ya sabéis, vamos a venir a el botón L2 de desbloquear misión. Y en este caso vamos a empezar con lo que habéis decidido vosotros. He preguntado, ya sabéis, por redes, a ver qué personaje queríais primero, si Beidou o Gorou. Y Beidou se ha llevado la victoria aplastante en este caso, así que vamos a venir aquí y vamos a desbloquear el encuentro. Ahí está, lo desbloqueamos y ahora, acto seguido, ahí está, cuando la Flota Crux Brilla Refulgente. Venimos, le damos a comenzar. Y una cosa que os voy a decir es que ahora ya podéis teletransportaros si habéis llegado al Alcor de manera fácil gracias a la interacción del mapa. Pero primero voy a venir aquí, como ya habéis visto, importante, ¿no? Para que no se me pase, vengo a misiones legendarias y aquí voy a recoger la otra llave para tener luego desbloqueada la de Gorou de manera sencilla. Ahora sí que sí, vamos a coger la misión y seleccionarla. Ahí está, el invitado especial, la marcamos, ve al Alcor, venimos al mapa. Y vamos a iniciar una misión que seguro que nos mola un montón porque es un encuentro de un personaje que muchos estamos como súper encantados con ella. Así que vamos a Flota Crux, al Alcor. Si no sale este teleport directamente, probablemente sea que tengáis que subir a donde estaba yo, arriba desde la montaña y desde ahí llegar volando. Aunque creo que tendréis que haber avanzado un poquito la trama para que no salga. Y bueno, vamos a ver. El viajero.
Ahoy there, traveler! So Captain really did invite you to join the homecoming celebration.
Hey, I heard that you took care of another crisis while you were in Inazuma. Are the rumors true?
That's what I heard too. Thanks to you, Inazuma's vision hunt decree was finally put to an end. Well done, traveler.
Captain's got quite the eye for people. She said she was sure that your trip to Inazuma would stir up some waves. And sure enough...
Yo solo quería hablar con el Arconte Electro.
Look at you, being so modest. We all know what you did to protect Liyue Harbor.
I've heard that they tell stories about you in Mondstadt, too. The honorary knight. Pretty impressive.
I'd say someone of your caliber would be right at home in the cracks. Right, sailors?
That's right. Wow, I'm getting excited just thinking of being the Traveler's crewmate. Hey, what do you say we arm wrestle?
I was worried you'd be too busy to show up.
Oh, Captain on deck!
Captain, we were just trying to talk the Traveler into joining the crew.
Yeah, come on, Captain Beidou. Surely you've got a way to get the Traveler on board.
Oh, he's on board right now for the celebration, isn't he?
Yeah, but just one celebration together is not enough. You know what we mean, Captain.
All right, I get it now. There is something special about you, Traveler. You earned everyone's respect, myself included. So it goes without saying that the Crux would be honored to have a crew member such as yourself.
No doubt about that.
But then again, a hero like yourself doesn't just set off on a journey without some bigger purpose in mind. So should a hero really drop what they're doing just to spend day after day drifting at sea with us? Well, if that were the case, then the Crux, known for always moving forward to the next horizon, would instead be holding someone back.
Right. I guess we didn't think that part through.
Remember, rather than seeking out strong members to join us, you should be focusing on making yourselves the strongest that you can be. If we are powerful, they will come to us. Isn't that why everyone here chose to come aboard in the first place?
Yes. A strong sailor is always looking for a sturdy ship.
I guess I almost forgot the first lesson you ever taught me. Thanks for the reminder, Captain.
Just be sure you all keep that in mind. Now, there's no more need to hound the Traveler, as you...
Bueno, quiero hablar con el viajero, ojito, poquita broma.
I'm glad you came. Welcome back aboard.
Vamos a ver, vamos a empezar por... Eres una líder muy sabia.
Thanks. I'll take that. Some rumors have it that the leader of the Crux is so powerful that she could slay the mighty Leviathan Haishan without breaking a sweat. I can't go getting too caught up in my own reputation, though. That's certainly not how the Crux made it to where we are today. As the head of the fleet, my task is to keep us on the right course, no matter how turbulent the seas may become. But then again, the crew isn't usually this riled up. It's not that they're arrogant, they're just bubbling with ambition, that's all. Their excitement today comes from their great respect
Bueno,
for
esto va a
you,
molar porque es de
both your
piratas.
strength and your character.
Claro que no, me interesa bastante la vida de los marineros.
Oh, is that so? Well, it just so happens that we're doing some recruitment and training for new crew members while we're back. Since you're interested, why don't you come along and experience a sailor's life firsthand? I'm curious to see if you'll take the sea by storm in the same way you have on land.
Necesitaré que me enseñes, capitana.
Good. Come with me. I've got something interesting for you to see.
¡Ojo! Vamos a entrenar con Beidou, poquita broma. Habla con Beidou. Vale, prueba el entrenamiento marinero. Vamos a ver de qué va esto. ¡Ah!
Chief Mate Juza's breaking in the newcomers.
El primer oficial está hablando ahora con los nuevos reclutas, pero puedo ahorrarse el tedio.
After this, the new crew members will be arranged
Vale, nos
into
dividiremos en
two
dos
teams for more
grupos
specialized training,
y
according to their
recibiremos
own
un entrenamiento
aptitudes and the
más
needs of the
especializado.
fleet. One team will learn comprehensive survival skills, including maritime emergency rescue, marine meteorology, psychological counseling, and so
¿Apoyo
on.
psicológico?
They will serve as the support team for the fleet, ensuring safe navigation. That's why we call them the Shield of the Crux.
¿El otro es una lanza?
That's right. You catch on quick. As one might expect, we call the other team the Spear of the Crux, because they'll be learning about naval warfare. They'll make up the armed portion of our crew. Also, they're responsible for handling the fleet's cargo deals. So, what do you think?
Lanza.
You truly are an adventurer at heart. Let's start with the fundamentals for any armed crew member.
El manejo de barcos de pequeño ¡Ojo!
Follow me.
¿Vamos a manejar barcos? ¿Qué dices? Esto puede ser muy top, Vale. Vale.
These are some older skirmish boats that we keep on the Alcor's backup.
Vale, pero este tipo de
Although they've
barco.
been made redundant by newer models now, they're still fully kitted out. They're
El barco de siempre, pero con color rojo, ¿no?
Simulated battles as part of crew training.
Mira, he pensado lo mismo que pone ahí, poca broma. Pensé que pilotaría el arco en una simulación de batalla.
Disappointed? So this isn't quite on the scale that you had in mind, huh? To be honest, the Alcor going into battle is the last thing I'd ever want to see.
Vale,
In
lo
fact,
entendemos.
out of all the confrontations we've ever had, almost all were resolved by negotiation. Only when negotiations fail do we consider deploying our armed fighters and skirmish boats, and they alone are enough to handle most situations. The only reason the Alcor would ever need to open fire would be if it were a fight to the death. The Alcor serves only two purposes. To
Disuadir o
deter,
destruir.
we are an armed fleet with a strong sense of justice, not war-hungry lunatics.
Vale, eso es bueno.
We're very careful about determining when to use force and exactly what level of force to use. All
Vale.
of this to say that mastering a small attack craft is quite enough for a new crew. Do you have any experience piloting small armed vessels?
Por supuesto, incluso puedo pilotar y disparar al mismo tiempo.
You mean you can do the jobs of a helmsman and a gun? Even in the Crux, there are few who can do that. Seems
Pues
like
nada.
you're a nut. In that case, I'll skip the basics on how to operate your craft. The goal of this exercise is simple.
Dirige el bote por la
Steer
ruta y
your
regresa
skirmish
antes de que acabe el
boat. You
tiempo,
can
vale.
start when you're ready.
Vale. Esto me mola la idea. Supongo que será...
Start whenever you're ready.
Vale. Bote de asalto, allá vamos. ¡Albedo! Vamos a tirarlo con esto. Vale, ya. Poca broma, Vale, lo único que va apareciendo un poco con lagazo, ¿no? Me han dicho, pero bueno. No pasa nada. Ya. ¿Y esto es el objetivo? Ah, no, vale. ¡No! Qué rabia me da cuando lo del salto se me buguea con el barco, tío, de verdad. Es de... Vamos allá. Muy bien. Y ahora, aquí. Listo. ¡A la primera! Ha estado top Beidou y lo sabes. A ver qué nos dice. Hemos pillado las 13,
Nicely
¿eh?
done. Perfect timing on the turns. You kept your craft stable on the straightaway. It was like watching a well-rehearsed show.
Es algo que hago a menudo.
All right. It's high time I introduced you to some of the more serious business that the Crux takes on. Come with
Vale.
me. We're going to Liyue Harbor.
Vale, pues al puerto de Liyue que nos vamos. Poca broma. Vale, tenemos que reunirnos con Beidou en Liyue. Ya lo habéis visto, nos ha salido bastante bien el desafío. Esto está siendo todavía el primer encuentro, pero oye, ha molado bastante, ¿eh? Me ha parecido muy guay. Vamos a venir aquí, vamos a hacer el teleport y al lío. Ok, pues ya estamos por aquí. Vamos a ver qué pasa. Vamos a venir a hablar con Beidou. Y vamos a buscar continuar esta aventura, este encuentro, que de verdad creo que va a ser de los más top.
You may be aware that
Vale.
as an armed fleet, the Crux is kind of like the maritime equivalent of a guard for hire. We
Vale.
work as an armed carrier, earning our keep by successfully delivering the goods entrusted to us from A to B.
Todo bien.
Aside from that, though, there is also one other important way we make income.
Las recompensas por capturar piratas... La remuneración por completar los encargos del gremio de aventureros.
Actually, it's trading in certain kinds of goods.
Hey, my hotshot accountant. Nice of you to join us.
Cut it out, boss. Juza sent me here with a message. He says preparations are now underway. If you give me the all clear, I'll head straight over.
Okay. Be careful.
¿Qué está haciendo aquí la contadora?
Well, she has something to take care of. Mora Grubber was right, though. The other important side to our business, the less official side, is doing exactly what merchants do. Importing here, exporting there. The only difference between us and regular merchants is that our transactions aren't entirely above board. You'll see what I mean by that shortly. I'm taking you to see one such transaction for yourself. Come on, let's go meet our trading partner for the day.
Vale, supongo que habrá que hablar con ella. ¿Qué ha pasado? ¿Qué ha pasado aquí? Bug. Eso ha pasado. A ver. Vamos un momento aquí a ver la misión ahora. Ha petado, no sé, ahí está Beidou. Vale. Ahora sí que podemos hablar con ella. Se había bugueado.
You may be aware that as an armed fleet, the Crux is... We work as an armed... Aside from that, though, there is also one other important...
Actually, it's trading. In certain kinds.
Hey!
Cut it out. Juza sent me.
Okay. Be careful. Well, more a grubber. Importing here, export... You'll see what I mean by that short. Come on, let's go meet our trading.
Vale, y ahora es lo que debería de... Ahora sí. Se me había bugueado. No sé lo que ha pasado, pero ya lo habéis visto. F grande en el chat. Ney.
Fresh seafood! Fresh seafood! Catch it while you can!
What do you have?
Hello there! Here at Nay's Professional Fishmongers, we've got everything you could ask for. So what do you need?
I want a bass head with all the teeth removed. If there's a single tooth in there, I don't want it.
Huh? You know bass have pharyngeal teeth, right? In the throat? How do you expect me to get all those out?
Then I'll have a bass trunk with 2 swim bladders. Again, if it's short by 1 swim bladder, it's not the bass I want.
Lol.
You're not making this easy for me. 1 bass means 1 swim bladder. Afraid that's not up to me.
Okay. Then I'll take a bass tail with scales that are yellow on the outside, black on the inside. Also, it's gotta have a total of 81 scales. That's 7 times 7, no more, no less.
What kind of fish scales are yellow outside and black inside? You sure this is a fish you're talking about? In any case, you can try all you want, but 7 times 7 is never gonna get you 81. Pardon my asking, but you're not a fish expert, are you? I'm sorry, ma'am, but I'm afraid I don't have any of the things you're looking for.
¿No dijiste que tenías todo lo que buscábamos?
Look, I'm a professional. So are most of the people I serve. I can accommodate anything they ask for. Seems you two are amateurs. So I'm sorry, but you'll have to go someplace else.
Anywhere you'd recommend?
Like I said, Nay's Professional Fishmongers is for professionals. For amateurs, the place to go to would be Wise Amateur Fishmonger.
Vale. Qué
I
raro que
bet
estás
you're
en
wondering
esta
why that guy was saying he didn't have what we wanted. That was just the first step in the transaction to confirm our identity. The real deal will come later.
Oh.
Why'd they have to give me that trophy?
Vale. Vamos a hablar aquí con el otro.
Fresh seafood! Fresh seafood! Come take a look!
Is this Wise Amateur Fishmongers?
That's the one. We have all kinds of amateur stuff here. The more amateur, the more of it we got. What would you like?
We'd like a bass head.
No problem. Ours are all toothless, mind you.
And a bass trunk.
Oh, no problem. I'll stick an extra swim bladder in there for you. On the house.
And a tail.
Sure thing. I'll paint the scales yellow on the outside and black on the inside, so you can tell at a glance, this ain't no ordinary fishtail.
¿Las escamas suman 81 o 7 por 7?
If it's 7 times 7 you want, I can do you 81, 138, or even 648.
Great. I like your style. We have a deal.
I appreciate your patronage. Please, take your order to our warehouse manager over there.
¿El pescado no lo tiene aquí?
A real amateur if I've ever met one. Proud to have you as a customer. No, we don't have the fish here. All fish sold at wise amateur fishmongers are still swimming in the sea. Once we get the order in from the customer, we go fish it out for them. The where pay first, then we bring you the goods. That way you get the freshest catch.
Ok, esto es un poco raro, pero vale.
Are you two here to collect your order, huh, Beidou?
Yes, sir. We're here about that bass.
I didn't expect you to come in person, but we still need to follow procedure. The bass you want is not a standard specimen. Our fishermen need to wait for the right moment to catch it. You know the rules, I take it?
Of course.
¿Qué reglas?
Oh, well, as you know, timing and location are everything when it comes to fishing. You have to wait till all the conditions are just right. That means the tide, the moon, and the wind. So, let me ask you this. When will the tide come in?
The fishing song will sound out at midnight.
How drunk will the moon be before the party's over?
It won't stop while the Star of Death shines.
I see, yes. Which way will the sea breeze be blowing?
The breeze should be bound for Guyan.
All right, then. Well received. I'll go and make arrangements.
Great. I think that wraps up everything we needed to do in Liyue Harbor. Let's head back and wait for the delivery.
¿Ya está? ¿Y el pescado?
I thought we were pretty clear, weren't we? The three people we just met are our business partners. Nay's professional fishmongers and Y's amateur fishmongers are just cover names. The bass, obviously, is the code name for the goods. The numbers of teeth, swim bladders, and scales all represent different specifications. Meanwhile, the conversation I had with the warehouse keeper was the instructions for the deal itself. Tonight at midnight, the deal will take place in Guyan Stone Forest. The Alcor will wait there as long as needed. As for what the actual goods are, well, you'll see tonight.
No estamos haciendo nada ilegal, ¿no? ¿O sí?
What if I were to say yes? What would you do then? Thank you.
Le ha soltado lo
But
más top
don't
de todo,
worry,
que conste.
everything will be fine. I deeply value you as a friend, but ultimately, you're not with the Crux. I definitely don't want to cause you any trouble just because you hung out with me. So rest assured, we haven't broken any laws.
Al menos hoy. Top. Beidou forever. Vale, hay que ir al bosque de Piedra Gunyun, así que ya sabéis, venimos aquí, abrimos el mapa. Y en este caso, pues nuestro destino básicamente es aquí, al lado del TP. Vamos allá. Vale, pues ya estamos aquí. Vamos a ver qué pasa. 0 a 5 horas, ojo. Nos va a tocar esperar aquí hasta la madrugada. Tres y media de la noche, por ejemplo. Vamos allá. Habían ganas de encuentros nuevos y la verdad que los de Beidou tienen pinta de molar, ojito, poca broma. Vale, aquí está el señor Abaco de Hierro.
Captain Beidou, you gave me quite the surprise when you showed up in person earlier today.
Well, my friend is visiting, so I wanted to show him how the Crux handles some of its important business.
I see. You two must be close.
You got that right. Now, down to business. Have you brought the goods?
Yep, all here. Please, feel free to take stock.
Stop! Nobody move! We have received certain information pertaining to a potential illegal business transaction at this location. Apologies, Captain Beidou, but I'm going to need to inspect those goods.
Oh? An illegal business transaction, you say? Well, all the goods are here. If you have any suspicions, please inspect them at your leisure.
Vamos a ver qué pasa.
Captain, everything's been checked. It's just a bunch of potatoes, flour, and so on. And all the paperwork checks out too.
Huh? Everything's been checked thrice over. There's not a single contraband item here. The paperwork was approved by the Ministry of Civil Affairs and the tax declarations are all in order.
Looks like you've managed to clear everything up. I suppose we can put this down as a simple misunderstanding.
Yes, apologies. This was a mistake on our end. Come on, let's go.
Bravo, Captain Beidou. This was rather ingenious.
¿Qué está ocurriendo?
Seems like your friend still has a little catching up to do.
I know you have a lot of...
Well, I'll leave you both to it. Captain Beidou, I look forward to doing...
Bueno, aquí lo que digo, nos han troleado, creo, ¿no?
You probably thought that there was some sort of nefarious business going on behind all the secrecy today.
No sé,
The
cuéntalo.
truth is, that was exactly what I wanted the Ministry of Civil Affairs to believe. What you might not know is that I, as the leader of the Crux Fleet, and you, the great hero of Liyue Harbor, have both been on the Ministry of Civil Affairs watch list for a long
Que nos están
time.
vigilando los del Ministerio de Asuntos
In other
Civiles.
words, whenever you or I crop up in Liyue Harbor, it almost always draws their attention. Not that there's any animosity behind it, mind you. In their words,
It's a security precaution to prevent people like us from causing unnecessary trouble.
oh, I have no qualms about that. They're just doing their job, keeping the land safe. But how does that saying go again? Ah, yes. Sometimes the closer you are to something, the less you can see. Did you figure it out yet? That's right. Maura Grubber, the accountant. With you, me, and a few sacks of potatoes and flour serving as a front, the deal she's overseeing on her end should go off without a hitch.
Ah, amigo.
After all, the Ministry of Civil Affairs sent the Millilith to us.
Hemos sido un cebo, literal. Qué bueno, ¿eh? Me ha molado, tengo que
Looking
decirlo.
at the time, it should... Look, that's the...
¿La señal de qué?
Tonight's real deal is officially done.
Ok.
Do you have any more questions?
Me da la impresión de que no es tan fácil engañar a ningún.
You're right. Never underestimate her. But as long as we don't take things too far, she won't look into it too closely. She knows that neither you nor I would do anything to harm Liyue. In any case, there's another higher-level watch list at the Ministry of Civil Affairs above the one we're on. It's top secret. Even I don't know whose names are on it. But I do know that the individuals and organizations on that list are the ones the Qixing are really wary of. I've gotten off topic. On some level, Ningguang and I are actually business partners too. Reason being, I'm the only one who can get her some of the more obscure treasures she wants.
¿Cuál es la transacción real?
It's complicated. All you need to know is that what might be easily attainable for some people can often be a lifesaver for others who can't get their hands on it. That's where we come in. It's as simple as that.
¿Quieres decir hierbas medicinales?
You still have some important things to take care of, don't you? As long as you don't know what I was referring to, you'll be safe. So, I'm sorry, but I can't tell you for now.
Nos va a dejar con la intriga.
Of course, if the day comes when you've traveled to every corner of the world, found your sibling, and neatly tied up all your loose ends along the way, you're welcome to come back here and I'll tell you all about it.
Ojo.
You'll always be welcome in the Crux Fleet. I hope I get to see you on board again someday.
Bueno, pues parece que tenemos uno de los finales, ¿no? Ahí está. Club de compradores de Gunyun. Cuando todo termine, Beidou espera verte algún día de nuevo a bordo. Me mola mucho lo que digo de nuevo, esto es una auténtica pasada. Pero obviamente esto no ha terminado, así que vamos un momentito, en este caso con lo de misiones, para continuar con la siguiente. Y bueno, la siguiente parte en este caso vamos a cargar lo de entrenamiento de grumetillos. Y ahora parece que tenemos que elegir lo que no es la lanza, sino lo que son los escudos. Así que vamos a venir aquí y vamos a cargar esta parte de la misión. De nuevo, en este caso hay que viajar, vamos a venir con el mapa y vamos a dirigirnos hacia aquí, hacia el barco, hacia el Alcor. Venimos aquí y continuamos la aventura, continuamos en este caso el encuentro con Beidou. Lo que digo, para mí uno de los encuentros que más ganas tenía de ver y completar, por el hecho de que es un personaje que mola un montonazo, y ya lo estáis viendo. Vamos aquí a hablar aquí con los cracks, ya sabéis, esto lo podemos pasar un poquito, es lo que hemos visto antes. Nos explica los equipos. Aquí
That's why we call them the That's right. As one might also there was so, what do you
los escudos, ahí está, vale.
As I expected, you have a will to protect others.
Ahora empieza lo
There
nuevo.
are two main subjects that the Shield of the Crux focuses on: survival knowledge and entertainment. As I was saying earlier, survival knowledge includes prevention of injuries and diseases at sea, navigation and cartography, basic meteorology, etc. You can go learn about these skills from Genshin, Huixing, and Liushi. They're all seasoned hands in their respective fields.
Pensaba que estudiaría
Each
contigo.
sailor has their own strengths and weaknesses. I'm no rookie, of course, but you shouldn't underestimate the knowledge of the crew. If there's anything I'm most proud of in the fleet, it's my people. Go and get to work. I'll have some questions to test you later. I look forward to seeing how you do.
Vale, hay que preguntar a Xinjing, la médica del barco. Esta es la que está aquí arriba, ¿no? Ahí está. Jeje. Vamos allá.
Hello, traveler. I'm Yinxing, the Crux's surgeon at sea.
Vale.
Whenever a sailor has a health problem, they come to me. I deal with it all.
Mareos,
From
resfriados,
seasickness and
amputaciones y
common
todo lo que sea
colds
presente.
to amputations and
Toma ya.
everything in between.
Quiero saber más sobre tratar lesiones y enfermedades en alta mar.
Oh, I presume the captain arranged this, correct? All right then, let's begin. First of all, let me ask you this. What do you think is the biggest danger that all new crew members face?
¿Marearse?
That can certainly be a problem at sea, but it's not the biggest danger. Oh, I have seen many new crew members who see themselves as young and fighting fit and have no regard for safety. They think that since they are tough enough to look after themselves on land, they'll be fine at sea as well. Those are the ones that always end up in the sick bay. Everyone should know that being a sailor, especially on a long voyage, is a brutal job in an unforgiving environment. We have to face malnutrition when we're short on supplies, all kinds of injuries and diseases that the harsh ocean weather can bring, and even the psychological problems that can arise due to isolation and the lack of entertainment. To make things worse, the lack of medication and treatment options at sea can result in even minor health problems becoming serious, or even fatal.
¿Por eso tienes que hacer amputaciones?
Oh, you probably thought I was joking, right? Well, that's not surprising. Most newcomers think the same way. But hopefully you now realize that with a little extra precaution, a lot of these things can be avoided. Well, I think that's enough for you to think over for now. Is there anything else you would like to know?
Gracias, he aprendido mucho.
Wow, my pleasure.
Vale. Ahora hay que ir a la piloto. Vamos allá.
Sorry about earlier, traveler.
No te preocupes.
We were so caught up on getting you to join the fleet that we didn't notice we were going a little overboard. Good thing the captain stepped in.
No tiene importancia. Quería pedirte que me enseñaras sobre la cartografía.
Oh! Well, in that case, you have come to the right person. I'll start by introducing some chart reading essentials for new sailors. Feel free to interrupt if you have any questions. Let's start with what to look for when you get a set of complicated charts. First, you should always look at any indicated shorelines, islands or reefs, water depths, hydrological conditions, and with these features in mind, you can answer the basic question of, can I chart a safe course through this area? Visually, nautical charts are a little unique. Unlike land maps, most charts do not have a fixed scale, which means that it can be hard to precisely determine the exact distance between 2 points. The most advanced nautical charts come with a supplementary chart, which has different colored lines marked on it to indicate distances. It's worth mentioning that under my direction, the Crux is using these advanced kinds of charts. Some cartographers mark out other points of interest on their charts, usually with their own special symbols. If they don't leave any accompanying notes, they can be very difficult to interpret.
Por ejemplo, las cartas heredadas del piloto anterior.
Not only those, we have tattered and torn charts that we've picked up from all over the place. To be honest, it can be quite a challenge, even for me. Some of these charts are really old and have some, but if we don't decipher them, we will certainly miss many secrets of the sea. Fortunately, we have the captain with us. She managed to find some ancient books on semiotics that I can use to study the charts further. I don't think anyone other than our captain can manage to get these kinds of resources. Old charts and ancient books on semiotics are not the kinds of things that are sold in your average marketplace. Oops, I've gotten off topic. Well, that just about covers the basics of chart reading. Is there anything else you would like to know, traveler?
Gracias, no tengo ninguna pregunta más.
My pleasure. A friend of Captain Beidou is a friend of mine.
Vale. Supongo que ya estará, ¿no? Habrá que... Shu y Lizzie, este es el de aquí, ¿no? Ojo. Pues...
The waves are as calm as always.
Quiere, Albedo, el problema es eso. Ahí está, ya está, paso de ligármela. Ey,
Hello,
me ha costado la vida llegar aquí,
Are
que
you here to
coste.
learn about marine
¿Cómo supiste?
meteorology? In my
Vale,
line of
este es
work,
el
I've
observador
got
del grupo.
I saw the captain showing you around the training grounds, and then you went to
Vale.
see Yingxing and Huixing. So I figured that she probably wants you to get to know the life of a crew member.
¡Qué ojo!
Okay, let's get started. First, I'll introduce you to the basics of meteorology. Marine meteorology basically means keeping tabs on the weather as well as other ocean phenomena. These are all potential threats to safe navigation. Luckily, whatever weather might be coming up, there's always some kind of sign that gives it away in advance. Take waterspouts, for example.
Vale, ahora
They're
estamos de agua
caused by
con vientos a gran
high-speed
velocidad del
rotating winds
superficie,
on
vale.
the surface of the... But if you know that waterspouts can only form in an environment with high temperature, high humidity, and large clouds, you will be even more alert if you also know that the presence of winds blowing in opposite directions with a significant difference in speed. And most importantly, if you spot a small white vortex emerging from the clouds, you should immediately notify the crew to steer clear of what's ahead. So there you go. Those are the warning signs of waterspouts. I am proud to say that over the years, I haven't let a single one sneak up on my watch.
Suena que tienes mucha experiencia.
I've got to confess, I learned almost everything I know from the captain. All the stuff about meteorology that I just told you about. Do you know the small fishing village next to Wangshu Inn? I heard that when later, she made her way to the harbor where she struggled to make a living. When I first came on board, I lived every day wallowing in doubt, wondering if my former career as a sailor was all just a waste. But as I gradually learned some new things and became more experienced, I finally realized what makes the Crux so great. After all, not every fleet has the uncrowned Lord of the Ocean as their leader. I feel lucky just to have joined.
Gracias por tu tiempo, creo que he entendido.
Find me anytime if you want to know more.
Vale. Informa a Beidou. Vamos allá.
So you've already finished talking to the crew, huh? I thought it'd take you a while longer. Well, you sound confident, but don't underestimate. Gotta admit, though, I like your attitude, kid.
Vale. Esto es un
First of
examen,
all,
¿no?
life on the sea isn't always plain sailing. Injuries and illnesses happen all the time. But what is the single biggest danger facing crew members?
Subestima el peligro.
Is that your final answer? All right, on to the second question. As you've just learned, the fleet plots its route using nautical charts. The charts used by the Crux have additional. The supplementary chart has lots of lines in various colors for. Okay, interesting. On longer voyages, we have to be especially careful to avoid certain weather hazards that pose a threat. So my question is, how can we reliably... Okay, those are all my questions. Now then, let's see. 2 correct answers. Not bad. After all, you didn't have much time to prepare. It seems that your survival know-how is now up to the standard required of qualified crew members. Time to move on. Next up, we have some Shield of the Crux recreational programs for you.
Vale, luchar contra el monstruo marino no es una actividad recreativa, ¿cierto?
Don't worry, all our recreational activity. You need to realize that being out at sea might be fun for the first few days while everything's new, but looking at the same old sea every day and being so isolated from everything can really cause people to struggle mentally. That is why regular recreational activities are an absolute necessity.
Vale.
We offer a lot of fun courses for our newcomer training, including fishing, photography, chess. Oh, and thanks to Kazuha, these days we also offer poetry and music appreciation.
Oh,
as well, each newcomer has to participate in at least one, so that they've got some way of keeping themselves occupied at sea further down the line. Of course, if you'd prefer wrestling sea monsters with your bare hands...
Veo que me entiendes.
Well, for today, at least, let's stick to the training schedule drawn up by Juza. If I remember correctly, it should be photography
Captura
today.
imágenes, ¿vale? Parece que vamos a hacer fotos. Ve a la clase de captura de imágenes. Está bastante guay, la quest. Me mola porque es el rollo de la vida pirata.
Everyone can go back and call it a day. The photography session has been postponed.
What's going on here, Juza?
¿Por qué?
Oh, Captain, there you are. Well, Captain, the photography teacher just sent word saying that she's fallen ill and doesn't want to risk coming in case she keels over in class.
I see. That's quite unfortunate.
Vale.
Oh? Quite the multi-talented one, aren't you? In that case, why don't you help us out and lead the class today?
Yeah, unfortunately, the original teacher canceled at short notice, so there's no time to schedule anything else instead. It would be great if the Traveler could step in as the teacher for the day.
It's up to you, Traveler.
Será un placer, como siempre.
Great! It's settled then. Juza, let's muster everyone over here to meet the new teacher.
Yes, Captain.
Okay, that's 1, 2, 3. Oh, that should be everyone. Take it away, Traveler.
Antes de empezar, tengo una petición.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
Ya que se trata de captura de imágenes, necesitamos un objetivo, un modelo.
Fair enough. It seems like you already have someone in mind. So, who will it be?
Capitana Beidou.
Well, we could do that, or... Guyunstone Forest looks extraordinary today. It'd be a pit. So how about we snap Guyunstone Forest for today?
Come on, Captain. We talked about this. The scenery looks nice at first, but it gets boring. Those were your exact words.
Hemos devuelto la...
Well, then in that case, how about Huixing? Or Fuzhong? Or Mora Grubber?
Seriously, Captain? Little Yue? You are the captain after all.
I agree. Besides, Captain, we can even use it to promote the fleet during recruitment.
Real funny, guys. Well, if you say so. So, what do I do now, Traveler? Like this? You're kidding, right? I've never had my photo taken before, but something this simple shouldn't be a challenge for... It must be... the lighting or something. You've got it wrong. I never said that. You mean go somewhere else, then bring the final photo back as teaching material?
Sounds good to me.
The lighting may still be a problem. But I'm open to persuasion. Just to be clear, I won't necessarily agree. It depends. Well, but if I want to enjoy the ocean breeze, why don't I just stay on board the Alcor and enjoy? So, I think we can just forget the whole modeling thing for... Sorry about that. I guess I'll owe you a favor.
Sí. Vale, vale, aquí hay algo que hemos hecho mal, entonces. Vamos a ver.
What's going on?
Oh, Captain, there you... Well,
I see. That's quite Oh?
Vale, vamos a repetir esto.
Yeah, it would be great.
It's up to you, travel.
Será un placer.
Great. It's...
Yes, Captain.
Vamos a ver aquí cómo va esto.
Okay, that's one. Oh, yeah? What's that? Fair enough. So, who will it be? Me? Guyonstone 4. So, how about...
Come on. Scenery look... Those were your
well, then, Or...
Seriously, Cap? You are the Cap?
I agree. Besides,
Vale, esto es lo que hemos visto antes.
Well... So, what do I do now, Traveler? Like... You're kidding, right? It must be... the lighting or something. I never said that. You mean go somewhere?
Sounds good to...
But I'm just to...
Posada de
The
Guangzhou.
fishing village near Wangshu Inn? How do you even know that place anyway? It's tiny. I don't think I've ever seen it on a single map.
Shuliushi me dijo que viste ahí.
I'm surprised that you'd remember such a trivial detail. He's right, though. I did live there for a while. And now
Vale.
Well then, let's go.
Parece que visitamos su hogar entonces, ¿no? Vale, hay que ir a al pueblo pesquero cerca de Wangshu. Lo que digo, me está molando. Ojo, es un encuentro largo, de nuevo lo que estamos en lo de siempre. Pero merece la pena, creo. A mí este tipo de eventos, es lo que digo, ¿no? Son los típicos vídeos que los traigo y ya ves que tienen su duración, son vídeos larguitos. Pero realmente es algo disfrutable porque si no tenéis el juego lo podéis descubrir mucho de un personaje del cual sean los encuentros. Y bueno, la verdad que es algo que siempre está bastante divertido. A mí por lo menos lo que digo son las cosas del Genshin que más me gustan. Y no sé, la verdad que bastante guay. Ojo, espera, que me estáis ahí preguntando algo ahora mismo de los que estáis viendo esto en directo. Esto luego lo subiré a YouTube, no os preocupéis, lo que digo, ahora estamos en directo, pero ahí está, muy bien. Sí, básicamente lo que digo, es como todo, ¿no? Normalmente estos vídeos los grababa directamente para YouTube. Hoy lo que he dicho es, voy a hacer un streaming aquí con vosotros y tal. Y así pues también puedo estar contestando alguna pregunta en algún ratito. La verdad que hemos estado a full, he estado contestando por el chat mientras hablan y tal. Y ahora pues digo, voy a aprovechar un poquito para dejar esto porque sí que es un tema que me parece interesante. Me estáis preguntando que qué espero de la siguiente actualización. Ahora luego os comentaré un poquito fuera de esto, pero bueno. Vamos un momento aquí con el trocito. Ah, es la aldea destruida.
At least back in the day, it was a lively village and home to several families. I wonder how long these last few old houses will remain standing. Nothing as dramatic as you might think. A few... Come on, let's take a walk.
Vale.
People used to call this place Downriver because the villagers apparently moved here from a place called Upriver.
Oh.
With them, they brought their knowledge of fishing, which had been passed down from generation to generation. I learned a lot from them when I was here. Now Upriver is long gone, and Downriver is all but deserted. It won't be long before no one even remembers what these places are called. Tu Zhong. Zhong. I barely remember this name.
Debe de ser porque no eras más que una niña.
You're right. I was only about 5 or 6 years old when I was homeless and had to wander around the streets. I remember finally managing to find half a rice bun, but then a stray dog jumped out and snatched it away from me. Half a rice bun was not something I was willing to give up so easily at the time. So then a few fishermen saw us running and stopped me. They were kind enough to give me some food. Seeing me stop, the dog also stopped running. But straight away it keeled over and never got up again. Maybe it was too tired, or maybe it had starved to death. I went over and saw that the dog still had the half rice bun in its mouth. It didn't let go even at the very end. Had I known the dog was so weak, I would have let it take that half rice bun.
Entonces fue cuando los aldeanos te acogieron. Ha sido bastante triste esto del perrito.
I could tell they were wary of me at first. I was the dirty little kid who had just chased a dog to death over some scraps of food. But I got lucky. The village chief took pity on me and brought me to their home. That's how I ended up staying here.
¿Y por qué te marchaste?
Do you know what the name Beidou means?
¿Beidou?
Come on.
Vale, nos lo va a contar por el camino, pero...
A year or two after I arrived, the village chief fell ill during the winter and passed away.
He visto aquí un cofraco. Y digo,
Though it's not gold, it certainly glitters.
Perdón, Beidou. Ya, continúa.
During that same period, the harvest was getting worse, and the fishermen's catch was getting smaller day by day. Without the village chief to handle the situation, people began blaming each other. There were even rumors that some families had been overfishing and leaving nothing for the rest of the village to catch. But in the end, they all turned on me, saying that they shouldn't have ever taken me in. They said I was bad luck. They pointed to how that dog died on the first day I arrived. Next thing you know, the village chief dies, and then all the fish die out.
Vaya.
They said I was a living curse, and the downfall of the village was all my fault.
Madre mía, pues es
I
bastante
told them
durillo,
that I
poca
didn't
broma.
understand. I'm not a curse, I'm just Beidou. Then some of the villagers started shouting, and drove me out of the village. They shouted, "Nando controls life. Beidou controls death. Beidou controls death." Before then, all I knew about my name was that it had something to do with the stars. It wasn't until then that I realized that Beidou was a constellation. And the Alcor, one of its stars, was an omen of death.
What?
Here we are. This is the old house of the village chief. I bet he never expected that the little girl he took in would grow up to be seen as a curse that brought about the village's total destruction.
Si tú eres una maldición, yo también.
What do you mean?
Después de que llegue a Monstante, el Arconte Anemo perdió su gnosis.
Is that
Después de
all?
que llegue a Liyue, el Arconte Geo perdió su gnosis.
And let me guess. You got to Inazuma and the Electro Archon's gnosis was taken as well? Well, you seem to wreak havoc on a grander scale than I ever could.
¿Ahora te sientes mejor?
Oh, I get it. You're trying to convince me that I'm not cursed. I appreciate it, and I'll take it.
Vale.
Let's not forget that the people whose names stick around are the ones who emerge from the stormy seas unscathed. And the ones who get swept away in the wind are the fledgling birds who couldn't I, for one, have never encountered a storm I couldn't weather.
Pues eso es lo importante, Beidou.
But your journey's far from over, isn't it? Just remember, so if you ever find some idiot trying to brand you as a scapegoat just because you're the one who lived to tell the tale, tell them Captain Beidou demands to have the honor along with you.
Ojo,
Remember, you'll always have the captain of the Crux to back you up wherever you
Supongo
go.
que no somos más que dos chivos expiatorios cuidándose mutuamente.
Two cursed scapegoats banding together for survival. I kinda dig it. I'm lucky to have a friend like you. Okay, it's time to get back to our photography. Right, teacher?
Pensé que no te
Come on,
apetecería.
let's not waste any time. So, do I need to strike a pup?
Vamos a vacilarla totalmente.
What? The nerve! What do you think this is? I don't want to do this whole modeling thing. Hey, cut it out. No more pictures.
Vale. Ahí está. Tenemos la foto. Y nos está matando. Tenía que hacerlo. Ha sido muy top y lo sabéis, ¿eh? Vale, la foto ha sido guardada en el dispositivo. Bueno, pues ya tenemos otro de los finales y creo que de los mejores de esto. Es que he visto la opción y he dicho, tiene que ser algo ahí seguro. Vale, vamos a continuar a ver ahora qué más hay. Ok, pues ahora lo siguiente que vamos a tener que hacer es cargar uno que otro recuerdo, así que vamos al lío. Lo bueno es que estaremos en la zona. Vale. Nos cuenta aquí todo lo del jefe y ahora hay que coger una opción que no sea la de seductora. Me ha molado bastante, o sea, a ver, muy bien. Vale. 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 Y ahora es cuando empieza lo bueno. Por fin recuerdas a qué vinimos aquí. Como quieras. Vale. Y ahora tenemos que hacer la sesión de fotos. Ahí está. Hablamos con Beidou. Es una imagen perfecta. Solo si prometes devolvérmela. Vale. Le damos la imagen a Beidou.
Yes. I see. All right. On behalf of the Crux, thank you very much for your photography class today. You've been an excellent teacher, and I couldn't be more satisfied.
Vale.
Now, as captain of the Crux, I am exercising my official right to requisition this photograph for future promotion and recruitment purposes.
Me parece bien.
So, I'm afraid I'll be holding on to this. That's fine with you, though, right?
Pues nada. Final conseguido. Bueno, final súper fácil, hay que decirlo. Pero bueno, ha estado muy top. Y ahora sí que sí, en este caso tocaría continuar con lo siguiente. Ya lo habéis visto, esta es probablemente la más fácil de todas. Una vez ya tenemos el otro final alcanzado, ¿no? Pero bueno, seguimos aquí con las cositas de Beidou. Así que vamos allá. Nos quedan todavía finales por descubrir. Y en este caso tenemos ya 3 de 5. Y ahora lo que tenemos que hacer básicamente, como veis, toda esta rama de aquí arriba estaría completa. Ahora hay que ver, en este caso, para los 2 finales que faltan, debería de ser por aquí, desde la intro, ¿vale? El invitado especial. Vale, para esto, como ya sabéis, tenemos que volver, en este caso, hacia... Perdón. Tenemos que venir al mapa y volver a la Crux Meridian, ya sabéis, el barquito, aquí, el Alcor, ¿vale? Bueno, vamos a venir aquí. Ahí está el Alcor y al lío. Vamos a ver qué pasa, ¿no? Ahora, claro, aquí me acuerdo que habían varias opciones. Esto es lo que hemos hecho al principio del vídeo, así que supongo que habrá que ver las opciones que más nos interesen. Y ojo que parece que se viene aquí la charla, ¿no? Ahí está. Vale, vamos a pasar un momento todo esto. Esto lo vimos al principio. Todo fue gracias al esfuerzo de muchas personas. Nos han puesto ahí. Vale, vale. Ahí está Beidou dándolo todo.
Captain!
Yeah, come on!
Oh, he's on board right now?
Yeah.
All right. So it goes without saying that...
No doubt about...
But then again, so should a hero... Oh, if that were the...
Right.
Remember, isn't that why
Yes?
I guess I almost forgot...
Just be...
Vale.
I'm glad you came. Welcome back aboard.
Todos parecen contentos de verme. Gracias por ayudarme.
Hey, don't mention it. As a host, it would be pretty embarrassing to continue letting my guests be put on the spot like that. I can't go getting too caught up in my own reputation, though. That's certain. As the head of the fleet, my task is to keep us on the right course, no matter how. But then again, the crew isn't usually this riled up. It's not that they're arrogant, they're just bubbling with ambition, that's all. Their excitement today comes from their great respect for you.
Vale.
Both your strength and your character.
En absoluto, tendría que darle las gracias por llevarme a Inazuma.
All good then. Great. Actually, speaking of Inazuma, let's talk about it over there, where it's a little...
What? ¿Cómo que he encontrado algo? Espera. Habla con Beidou. En un lugar tranquilo. Vale. Esto creo que ya es nuevo entonces.
So after we dropped you off in Rito, we found a shipwreck
Vale.
nearby.
Ojo,
It probably
naufragio.
belonged to Inazuman pirates.
Barco pirata de Inazuma.
We searched the wreckage and found a map.
Un mapa.
At
Oye,
first,
oye,
I
esto
thought
empieza a
it was a
molar, ¿eh?
nautical chart. I was thinking we might discover a new sailing route if we were lucky. But after a closer look, I realized it wasn't a map of the sea at all. It was a Liyue treasure map, and no ordinary one at that.
¿Hay un chi maligno activo en la zona?
Nothing like that. I just mean that the map was a mess. So it was the most I could do to figure out that the treasure was probably in Liyue. As for its exact location, I have no idea. I'd say I've explored Liyue pretty extensively, but still, this one managed to beat me. So, I thought of you. Nobody can beat you when it comes to treasure hunting on land, right?
Me conoces muy bien.
Is that right? Here's the map. See what you can make of it.
Vale.
So, where do you think it is?
¿La llanura Gili?
Guili Plains. Huh, I never would have gotten that. How can you tell?
Comparado con un mapa normal, la topografía se parece al de llanura Gili.
Oh. Okay then. So you do live up to the hype. I can't believe you noticed that. Let's head over there and take a look. I'll need you to help me zero in on the specific location once we're there.
Vale. Pues nada, parece que hemos descubierto algo nuevo. De momento está top la cosa y nos vamos a llanura Gili aquí con la caza del tesoro. Me está gustando mucho este encuentro de Beidou. Como ya sabéis, lo que me estáis preguntando, por cierto, ahora voy a aprovechar un momentito, ahora que tenemos un segundito, ¿no? El tema de Genshin, sí que es verdad que igual que estáis poniendo en el chat, yo creo que realmente necesitamos continuar la historia principal, el tema de Sumeru y demás, creo que es lo más importante. Y ojalá de verdad mi hoyo se ponga con eso. Ya sabemos que en esta edición no vamos a tener mucho avance en lo que es la historia principal. En la siguiente se viene la última isla de Inazuma, podremos por fin completar el árbol. Y bueno, ya iremos viendo, ¿no? Un poquito cómo avanza todo. Pero sí que es verdad que tengo que decirlo, de que pienso que deberían de sacar más contenido y en menos tiempo. En plan, no pueden estar 5 años para la historia principal de un juego. O sea, es un poco locura. Pero bueno, yo lo que digo, ojalá la cosa cambie un poquito y tengamos alguna sorpresa. Porque estaría realmente guay por ejemplo, que pudieran poder completar esto en un año o por ahí. Es que es lo que digo, yo sé que son muchas ciudades y muchas cosas, pero una vez termine la historia principal puedes sacar otro mundo, ir haciendo ya cosas y ahí a lo mejor avanzar más lento. Pero una historia como es lo del prota y la hermana, pues sí que es un poco complicado. Bueno, aquí parece que hay que cavar, ¿no? Claro. Vale, ya estoy en el destino, ¿y ahora qué?
Beg for mercy.
A ver. ¿Se ha vuelto a buguear? ¿En serio?
More speed.
Ojo, aquí hay gente.
Keep digging, boys. Once we have our hands on the treasure, everyone gets a share.
You can all hold it right there.
Ojo.
Huh? Who's that barking orders? Do you know who you're up against here? Keep going if you got a death wish. What the? It's Captain Beidou. Run, boys, run!
Nobody move.
Captain Beidou, Lord of the Ocean. This is all my fault. I didn't know who I was up against. I don't have a death wish. I swear. I got a big mouth is all. It's always saying things it shouldn't. I swear I'll wash it out with soap the moment I get back. Please, have mercy. Will you spare us? Well, spare them, at least. These guys are just trying to put food in their mouths. They'd never hurt a soul. If you need to take anyone, take me. Please, let them go. It was me that disrespected you. They never did and never would.
Is that right? Fine. Seems like you've got a heart in there somewhere, seeing how you treat your crew. Get out of here!
Thank you, Captain Beidou. Thank you.
Wait.
Yes? What else might the merciful and mighty Beidou require?
This treasure's still up for grabs. The Crux fleet honors the rule of first come, first served. You found it first, so name your price. I can't have any rumors going around about Captain Beidou stealing other people's treasure, can I?
Captain Beidou, we wouldn't dare take more from you. Take the treasure as an apology for my foolish words. Please, take it.
Oh? Well, if I accept your kind offer and I'll make you one in return. You don't seem like terrible folks, so let me help you get onto the right track. If you want to mend your ways and put all this behind you, the Crux can probably arrange some odd jobs in the port for you. It'd be humble work, but at least it'd get you on your feet and making an honest living. A much better deal than what you've got going.
Wow, thank you, Captain Beidou. On behalf of me and all my boys.
Vaya con Beidou, ¿no?
Let's see what we've got in here. This isn't what we're looking for. Let's look around. Maybe we'll find it. Those rocks look kind of weird. Let's see if there's anything there. Nothing. Let's keep looking.
Vale, vamos a buscar. Me mola mucho este tipo de quest, ¿eh? Mira, ahí están cavando, ahí seguro.
What are those hilly trolls digging for? Wait, actually, I've heard they sometimes dig for buried treasure. Let's go take a closer look.
Time for a light show.
Ahora con este.
Barbados, guide us. Shut up.
¡Ah! ¡Qué rabia! Me salió volando, literal.
Freeze to the core. Crush.
Vale, hacia fuera. Vale, queda el otro, ¿no? Vamos a preparar el inicio. ¡Ah! Vale, 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 ahí está, fuera. Listo. ¿Acabamos? Bueno, investigamos. A ver, a ver, a ver.
Not here either. Now that we've searched all the places of interest in this area and come up with nothing...
¿Qué tesoro estás buscando?
It's
Captain Beidou! Captain Beidou!
¿Eh?
Huh? Hey, what brings you back here?
Captain Beidou! Actually, we've just been wandering around nearby. Because we were thinking about what you said and... Well, me and the boys decided we're ready to move away from all of this and get on the...
Oh? Are you sure?
Vale, ¿van a ser buenos?
Okay then. But I'll warn you right now, you won't have it easy. It might just be menial work in the port, but in the eyes of the general public, you'll be associates of the Crux. So there'll be a grueling test you have to go through before you can start.
I understand. Truth be told, Captain, it's only because it's you, the mighty and honorable Captain Beidou. If it had been anyone else, I don't think I'd have listened. And since you made us this kind offer, I'd like to ask, if I might be so bold, is there any hope at all for us to become full members of the Crux in the future?
Well, there's no place in the Crux for delusions of grandeur, that's for sure. But then again, everybody has to start somewhere. So, it comes down to you. If you manage to impress me and earn the respect of my crew, then yeah, nothing's impossible.
Okay.
Thank you, Captain Beidou. Thank you 1,000 times over. I couldn't help but notice you were searching for something else. It still hasn't turned up?
Why? Do you have any clues?
We heard about 2 treasures, both in Guili Plains. We were still looking for the first one when you found us. So maybe the other one might be what you're looking for.
¿Dónde está?
Not too far from here, but I'm just not sure of the exact location. All the info we got about this treasure came from the black market. The answer's hidden inside a poem which goes like this. Drunkenly I gazed at the ruins long forsaken, and lay beneath red leaves whose branches cast a crooked As for the ruins long forsaken part, I do know of some ruins near here. But beyond that line, I'm just not smart enough.
So a treasure clue hidden in a poem, huh? Don't see my friend here? If they taught treasure hunting as an art form, you'd probably be calling him Grandmaster. Am I right?
Vayamos primero al lugar.
Okay.
Okay. Come on, boys. You heard the captain. Lead.
Vale, pues parece que aquí van todos a buscarlo. Y parece que marca por aquí. A ver.
These are the long forsaken ruins from the poem. But judging by the state of them now, it's probably long gone.
It seems that we need to dig deeper into this poem. Drunkenly, I gazed at the ruins long forsaken, and lay beneath red leaves whose branches cast a crooked shade. The dusk sun shone upon the sea as I awakened, but Guyon stood twixt weary eyes and the sight of home they craved. Do you have any ideas?
Tal vez observar las ruinas quiere decir que el autor no está aquí.
Somewhere you can see the ruins from.
Árbol con hojas rojas.
And maybe the shadow cast by the tree is supposed to hint at something.
Oh, I got it! This guy fell asleep and woke up just...
Dusk and the shadow of a... Let's take a look around.
Vale.
Found it! At long last, the treasure is finally in our hands. A check from the Northland Bank. You really came through. We found the spot in no time. Without your help, I don't think I ever would have gotten my hands on it.
Esperaba algo más especial.
To us, this is just a check that you can exchange at Northland Bank for some mora. But to some people, it's of huge importance. When I found the treasure map, it was tightly sealed inside a small bottle along with a letter. I'll let you read it for yourself.
Si has encontrado la botella quiere decir que ya no estoy vivo. Pensaba que estos piratas tenían su forma de hacer las cosas y que incluso podrían llevarme de vuelta al Liyue. Por eso subí a su barco, pero lo que me imaginé fue que, bueno, así es la vida, ¿cierto? Antes de venir a Inazuma me preocupaba que al vivir ella sola entraran a robar a la casa de mi madre. Por eso enterré en la ubicación del mapa los cheques que ahorré. Por favor, te ruego que vayas a por ellos y los cambies por mora en un banco. Puedes hacer lo que quieras con el dinero, pero por favor guarda por lo menos una pequeña parte para mi madre. Se llama Minamoto Kotomi y vive en la llanura Gili. Te lo ruego, por favor. Perdón, mamá, he encontrado muchos pétalos de cerezo de tu hogar natal, pero desgraciadamente no podré llevártelos en persona. Wow.
Yeah, I can't fault him for what he did. Well, let's fulfill his final wish by taking this check to where it belongs.
Ojo, Beidou y su corazoncito, ¿no? Vale, la casa que hay en la playa. Pues vamos allá. Me ha molado mucho, todo lo que estamos viendo, lo que digo, es un encuentro que realmente está muy currado, tiene sus cosillas. Y lo que digo, aunque sea largo, he estado ya aquí con vosotros, lo estamos pasando en grande. Estoy leyendo todo el ratito el chat. Y como ya sabéis, escribiendo, aprovecho las conversaciones para escribir un poquito más para cuando ya no tengo que mostrar gameplay, porque esto después va a YouTube. Y es el plan, ¿no? Que lo tenéis también en YouTube a poder ser... estoy grabándolo el día 24, estamos en directo. Pues editarlo y todo me llevará un rato por meterle la intro y demás, pero a ver si está para el 24 o 25, va. Vale.
Give this check to the old lady who lives in that wooden hut. Tell her it's a welfare payment from the Liyue Ministry of Civil Affairs.
Yes, boss.
What's up?
Tengo unos pétalos de cerezo que recogí en Inazuma, quiero dárselos también.
But you only find sakura blooms in certain places, right? Let's just pick one, huh? You've already helped me out so...
Vale, bueno, pues adiós a los pétalos.
Okay, off you go then. Take her the sakura bloom along with the check. And if she asks, tell her, your child in a faraway land sends his best wishes.
Vale, y aquí está. Qué guay, Beidou, todo está saliendo bien. Pétalos de cerezo sobre Gili. Conforme el cerezo de la tierra natal se sumerge en el mar, los sentimientos de un hijo en alta mar llegan a su madre. Guardamos y con esto tenemos otra de las misiones completadas. Así que vamos con lo siguiente. Ok, pues ya solo nos faltaría desbloquear el último de los finales de Beidou. Así que vamos un poquito al lío. Y por aquí parece que ahora tenemos aquí algo que hacer en la conversación en privado. Creo que básicamente tiene que ver con elegir lo que no era las llanuras Gili para poder tener otra pequeña aventura de este estilo. Me está gustando mucho este encuentro, tengo que decirlo, de que es algo que mola bastante. Ojo, me he salido del mapa. Y me ha parecido muy divertido de principio a fin. Ahora, como ya sabéis, continuamos en este caso por esta parte. Hemos estado ya sacando 4 de los 5 finales. Vamos a buscar el último para terminar este encuentro. Y no sé, me lo estoy pasando muy en grande. Es una dinámica que estoy haciendo diferente, porque igual que he hecho lo de las tiradas con el Beidou, con vosotros y demás, que ha sido súper épico, ha estado muy bien este directo con lo que digo, 11 deseos y al Beidou conseguido. Ya lo habéis visto que el piti era nada, o sea, ha sido la potra del día. No lo esperaba, pero ahora ya puedo ir ahí todo con calma. Esto aquí ya lo hemos hecho, así que ahora nos tiene que enseñar otra vez. A ver. Voy a poner otra opción por simplemente ir ocupándolas.
So, I thought of you. Nobody can beat. Is that right? Here's the map.
Vale.
See what you can.
Vale, ahora hay que coger y ahora empieza lo nuevo, ¿vale? Venimos aquí y elegimos decir que creemos que es la aldea Chingse, muy mal dibujada.
Chingse Village. I don't see the resemblance at all. How'd you come to that conclusion?
La aldea Chingse tiene muchas terrazas parecidas a estas líneas del mapa.
Oh. I'm definitely a rookie at this. But your word's good enough for me. Time for a trip to Chingse.
Vale.
You're coming with me, of course. I'll need you to help me zero in on the specific location once we're there.
Ok. Pues esto parece que va a ser la... Aquí algo me dice que no encontraremos un tesoro alguno, ¿no? Pero bueno, vamos a ver. Mapa. Porque... En principio sabemos que la botella ya la hemos completado anterior y la botella es lo, o sea, es lo que era, ¿no? El tesoro es lo que hemos hecho en las llanuras Gili. Así que vamos a ver qué hay en la aldea Chingse. Ah, sí, me mola este rollo, ¿eh? Estas quests están muy chulas. Este encuentro tengo que decir que se ha convertido en uno de mis favoritos. O sea, no sé vosotros, dejádmelo en comentarios en YouTube o aquí en el chat. Pero, wow, es que está muy top, ¿eh? Vale, dirígete a la aldea de Chingse, ya estamos, así que supongo que habrá que venir aquí y a ver qué pasa.
Ah, Beidou!
Abuela Roxy.
Wow, and the traveler. My goodness, what's the occasion? Just here to visit us old folks once again? It hasn't been all that long since we last had a visit from the Crux. But I'm glad you picked today. You're just the people I need. These two young rascals, they've been arguing with each other non-stop about some petty nonsense or other. I'm too old to get through to them. They won't listen to me. Please, talk some sense into them.
Rest assured, Granny Zhuoshin, whatever the situation is, the Traveler and I will take care of it.
Oh, thank goodness. It's Captain Beidou. You couldn't have come at a better time. You're the voice of reason I need in this situation.
Captain, please. Help me get justice.
Whoa, hey. What exactly is going on here? Spit it out. Tell me everything.
It makes me mad just talking about it. G here, I don't know if he's got a screw loose or what his problem is. But anyway, he took it upon himself to raise, well, practically a whole army of finches, okay? And now guess what? They fly onto my land and completely destroy at least half of my crops. I asked him to pay compensation, but he refused. Now how is that fair?
Captain, I'm innocent. They're not even my finches. I just thought they looked kinda cute, you know, so I fed them a couple of times. They're wild birds, though.
A couple times? Are you kidding me? That's rich. Really rich. There were 2 of them when you first started. 2 finches. Now you have a whole roof full of finch nests. I swear, every time I come by your place, I think I'm at a bird market. I'm...
So, yeah. I mean, they laid a few eggs, made a few nests.
Pájaros silvestres.
So that's how it is. What's your take?
Creo que... A ver, creo que G es el responsable, se alimentó demasiado y ahora están destrozando las cosechas. Sí.
Yeah, you have a point. G, let's say I'm interested in buying these...
Are you serious, Captain? Oh, that would be great. Honestly, with all this trouble they've been causing me lately, they've become a bit of a...
All right, deal. My only condition is, you have to use some of the money to compensate Wenjing for her losses.
Beidou siempre ayuda a la gente, poca broma.
But I never...
Well, you tell me. You took my deal, that means you admitted to being the owner, doesn't it? Otherwise, what gives you the right to sell them to me?
Captain Beidou's right. If you didn't raise them, what makes you think you can go taking her money for them,
Pillado de lleno.
Don't worry. My offer includes plenty left over for you after deducting the compensation. This way, you get something back for looking after them.
Okay then. Okay. I'll pay the compensation.
I hope you two are very grateful indeed to Beidou. I dare say no one else will be quite so accommodating toward the people of our village.
Granny Zhuoshin, as you know, many of the boys from your fine village do sterling work for the Crux. The fleet wouldn't be what it is today without them, so please think nothing of it. Ji, Wenjing, I guess you're free to go.
Captain Beidou, you're here.
El tío Xing. Ojo, aquí están todos.
Xing, it's been a long time. Have you been?
Don't get me started. I've been having some real trouble with that neighbor of mine, Zhen. We keep having the same argument, and it just goes nowhere. I heard you were in the village, so I rushed over to seek your help.
What's the issue?
Oh, come with me. You'll see. Let's go find Zhen and clear this whole thing up, face to face.
Vale. Voy a charlar con Ren. Ojo, me está molando bastante, lo que digo, es un encuentro que, aunque no haya tenido ninguna pelea como tal, me ha parecido de lo mejor, O sea, es una historia divertida con Beidou y demás. Y creo que la han sabido hacer muy bien esta vez. Y ojo, de los mejores que he visto, Ya me estoy diciendo que os ha molado mucho y lo entiendo. Vamos.
You're here.
¿Vale? Voy a aprovechar para escribir un
I heard
poquito.
that you and Pops Xing had a little misunderstanding. So, what's up? Tell me about it.
Zhen planted a tree on his property a few years back. I had no issue with it at the time. It's just a tree. But a few years on, it's grown taller than the roof of my house. Every morning when I get up and open the window, I just want to feel the sun on my face, but I'm greeted instead by the looming shadow of my neighbor's tree. It really affects my mood. I asked Zhen to cut it down so I could get some sunlight back on my property. But he said no. It's like he's done this on purpose just to drive me crazy.
Captain Beidou, you gotta believe me. I didn't intend to block the sunlight, but there's nothing I can do about it now. It's not just any old tree, you see. That tree was planted there by my late father. Not long after he planted it, he passed away. And just before he passed, he left me with some parting words. He said our family's fortune was inauspicious and we needed something to suppress the bad luck. That's what he planted the tree for. How can I just chop it down? I'll be honest, I spent a few years studying in Liyue Harbor, so I don't actually share his superstitious beliefs. But still, that doesn't change the fact that this was my father's dying wish.
Okay, I think I'm all clear on the situation. What are you thinking?
A ver, creo que Ren merece clemencia.
I was thinking along the same lines as
Vale,
you.
piensa igual que yo.
Look, Pops, I'm not trying to make excuses for Zhen, but just try putting yourself in his shoes for a moment. Zhen's desire to protect his tree isn't for money or because he wants to hurt anyone, or he just wants to honor his father's dying wish. Pops, you have kids too, right?
Yeah.
Pops, if you can agree to it, I'll have a word with Granny Zhuoshin and see about getting you some money from the relief fund as compensation for having your sunlight blocked. As for the tree...
That sounds good to me. Whatever you think, Captain Beidou. The tree can stay. Some compensation would make me feel much better about the whole...
Thank you, Captain Beidou. And thank you for understanding Pops Xing. I'll make sure to trim it back when I get home to let some more light through. It'll be such a relief not to have to worry about this anymore. On a separate note, I remember the Crux last visited the village not very long ago. Is there some special reason why you're back in person so soon?
Nothing all that special, just personal reasons.
Huh? Treasure? Wait a second. That reminds me, I saw Chongping and Defu arguing in the fields earlier. It sounded like they were both trying to lay claim to some treasure. I don't know if it's related to the one you're looking for, but anyway, they're probably still there now.
Really? Okay, well, you and Pops...
Vale, ellos que sigan a suyo, nosotros vamos a por el tesoro. ¡Vamos allá! ¿Qué rana? Buena suerte. Ojo, cofre.
Things are going a little too smoothly today.
Me ha molado esto, a ver. Parece que aquí tenemos algo.
Beidou, you're just in time.
What happened?
I'm not being unreasonable, Captain. I got Chongping to help me plow my land because it's the busy season. And then, what do you know? He plows up a treasure chest. Way I see it, it's my land. So the treasure belongs to me, right?
You say that, Defu. But what you're forgetting is that I came to help you plow your fields out of the goodness of my heart. And you haven't paid me a single mora. It was also my plowing that turned up this chest. However you cut it, surely I'm entitled to at least some of the treasure.
Está hablando con la mente, ¿no?
The domestic drama just keeps coming today. What are your thoughts?
Conozco una experta en asuntos legales. Creo que ella podría encargarse de esto.
Okay, I think I'm up to speed here. If you two really want to take this further, I can get a legal expert from Niwa
¿no?
Harbor to adjudicate. As for the costs, I'll cover them. What do you think? Neither of you seems thrilled about this course of action. I'll be straight with you. The reason I came here today was to look for some treasure. Chances are it's hiding right there. So, how about you two stop fighting over it and do me a favor by handing it to me? Of course, I'll be indebted to both of you. If either of you ever needs anything in the future, the Crux will not hesitate to lend you our support.
Ojo, es buenísima,
You're
Beidou.
far too kind, really. Indebted? That won't be necessary. If you want this chest, you go ahead and take it.
Yep, totally agree. If only I'd known you were looking for this chest. You should have said something. I would have delivered it to you personally to save you the trip.
It seems like it's been quite a busy day for you, helping us settle all our little quarrels. Come on, let's go to the village. I'll rally the masses. We'll get some good food and good drink and have a good old get-together.
Toma.
Don't worry about the chest. I'll carry it over.
Vale. Ojo, Beidou forever. Vale, hay que esperar hasta la noche, ¿no? A ver, vamos a hacerlo desde aquí. Ahí va. Brutal, de verdad, lo que digo. Creo que así tienen que hacer los encuentros, que sean divertidos en todo momento. Una historia que enganche y digas, ¡ay, qué guay! Vale, únete al banquete. Y el banquete está ahí arriba, ¿no? Vamos allá. Ahí va. Ha volado, literal, ¿eh? Vamos, 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 corre, Jin. Vamos al Beidou. Buena. ¿Esa abuela no es mora o qué? ¿Te imaginas? Moras infinitos ahí. Vale, aquí está, ¿no? Vamos a ver qué pasa con la fiesta de Beidou, bros.
What a fine day today has been. Beidou has solved an awful lot of problems in our village.
She sure has. Without Captain Beidou, that compensation payment would have bankrupted me.
Vale.
Yeah, and if it weren't for Captain Beidou, I'd still be arguing with Pops Xing.
Oh,
Here,
eso no lo queremos.
We have plenty to thank Captain Beidou for, I'm sure. I propose a toast in her honor.
To Captain Beidou. Cheers!
I couldn't ask for more than the chance to get everyone together and drink to our heart's content.
Salud!
Cheers! That really hit the spot. Want to get some air? The view in this place is pretty good. We can take a look through the contents of that chest while we're at it. Chongping placed it by the water wheel.
A ver, no bebiste demasiado.
Are you kidding? Beidou can handle her liquor. Come on, let's go.
Vale, hay que ir al molino, ¿no? Que eso está ahí arriba. A ver. Aquí está el cofre. Vamos a ver qué pasa.
So, I've been thinking. Everyone seems to trust me enough to let me have the final word on their disputes. But don't you think some of my solutions can be a little stupid? You can laugh, I don't mind. Take Changping and Dufu's wrangling over that chest, for instance. I had no clue who it should belong to, so I just came up with this stupid idea of taking it for myself. At least that way, neither of them would feel like it was unfair. But, I mean, I'm no Ningguang. I can't make a perfect deal every time. And I'm no Yanfei either. Not all my judgment calls are going to be 100% fair and square. I am Beidou, and my strength is in trading favors.
Entonces lo que hace la capitana de la Flota Crux es intercambiar favores con todo el mundo.
You think I should be more selective? Some people think their favors are so valuable that they need to plan out how and when to use them to maximize the return on their investment. Others see doing favors as a burden, not worth anything in monetary terms and prone to getting you locked in a cycle of constantly returning the favor back and forth. But the way I see it, favors are what keep people connected to one another. Over thousands of years, the people of Liyue have created bonds between each other by doing someone a favor here and asking for a favor there. This means that no individual is truly on their own out there. When someone falls down, there's an invisible net made of human connections. Over the years, I've come to owe favors to a great many people. And these are the countless bonds between us, like so many fish in the sea. And they're the reason that the Crux and I have survived the countless hardships we faced. I believe that if there ever comes a day when the world is overrun by monsters, Liyue's legal system collapses and the land is thrust back into... It's these bonds that will see us all through the dark days ahead, until we come out on the other side.
Entonces me pediste que te ayudara a buscar el tesoro para deberme un favor.
I'm not saying that. But either way, we have a pretty firm bond between us already, don't you think?
Desde luego, Beidou.
I feel like I'm forgetting something. Something we were literally just talking about. Oh, yeah, the chest! Come on, let's open it up and see what's inside.
Vale. Repollos mozos.
It's not exactly what I was looking for. But you know what? I don't care. The fun part was going on a treasure hunt with you. Come on, let's get back to the party.
Vamos a por todas. Ya está el final, ¿no? Ahí está, vino milagroso. Pues me lo he pasado en grande, tengo que decirlo. Ha sido un encuentro que me ha gustado mucho. Y no sé vosotros, pero como siempre me gustaría saber vuestra opinión, tanto en comentarios ahora en el chat como en comentarios en el canal de YouTube. Lo que digo, esta es la primera vez que grabo un encuentro, que no lo grabo y ya está jugando, sino que estoy aquí con vosotros en directo, ¿no? Lo que digo, luego lo tendréis el vídeo en YouTube, ahora supongo que dejará de salir un rato aquí en Twitch y luego ya lo dejo subido en YouTube a full ahí, lo que digo, 1080p y todo lo demás. Cosas importantes, vamos a venir a misiones y vamos a venir un momentito a coger las recompensas, ¿no? En este caso, ¿qué es lo que vemos aquí? Recompensas de final, aquí las tenemos todas, nos van a dar 60 protogemas y bueno, libros y demás, comida y de todo un poco, como podéis ver. Ha estado bastante divertido. Lo que digo, ha estado muy top el encuentro, me ha gustado mucho, me ha parecido realmente una historia divertida, una historia que mola bastante y tengo que decir de que, no sé, me ha sorprendido bastante, o sea, tiene un poquito de todo, o sea, ha sido la típica misión que dices, guau, es que, pero mola, o sea, no sé, me ha sorprendido, me ha parecido divertida, me ha parecido un encuentro atractivo con el tema de los piratas. Y Beidou, la verdad que de principio a fin ha sido muy top la historia. Así que nada, grumetes y grumetas, espero que os haya molado el vídeo, que os sirva también de ayuda por si se os ha quedado alguno de los finales. Como siempre, me despido, hasta la próxima, soy Jess Herrero, esto es KTS y nos vemos en la próxima. Adiós.